Hello, everybody. So, what I'm about to do in this video is do what's called a ultimatum. I'm going to give you a logical fallacy, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to prove with their information that these people in Judea were African or Canaan, whatever you call them, even outside the Bible, because the Bible says they were Ham, right? Okay. So, outside of the Bible, I'm about to prove in written history, not only did they write the Bible once Greece and Rome came around, I don't know who really ultimately started it, but I'm going to prove not only did they copy the Bible from actual history, not the magical stuff, but a lot of the rating and whatnot, then I'm going to show you that either all their information is a lie or that the Christ in these people, who they call the Christ, because the Christ is within. I'm tired of the bullshit. I'm going to show you all that these people were African, or else all archaeology is a lie. And Judaism is a lie because then they got their whole entire religion from the African steels. And then somebody created Hebrew because William Tyndale and these historians were already translating Bibles into Hebrew, from Hebrew into English. What they did in Poland, the Polish in the 1800s, was the same thing men in the past have been doing. So follow along. Watch this. Who is Mentuhotep? Mentuhotep the second. Right? Mentuhotep the second was the ruler right before Africa was invaded. Africa was invaded by Asiatic, what you all will call yellow. Y'all keep saying Egypt is yellow. No. Kemet is called black land. Africans are black. Kemet, Egypt, Ethiopia, I don't care how far north, Morocco, all African. So, why is Mentuhotep II the second, or the second, important? This was the final king in Egypt before the Hyksos invaded, I believe. Or he created the second kingdom. Right? So when this man had done this, there was peace. All the enemies was coming together. He allowed his enemies to live, and he wasn't conquering like Menes Narmer. Menes Narmer was one of the first kings in Egypt. That's where they got Nimrod, because pharaohs had rods and canes. It's Menes Narmer backwards, Nim, and then the rod. Egypt taught Babylon and Canaan everything, and I'm about to show you they did in Mesopotamia, because they branched out of Africa initially and traveled to different places. So Mentuhotep II, Hyksos invasion, 1900s BC. The Hyksos, okay, this is another thing when dealing with Google, I tell you all you have to do in-depth research. It says not in 1900s BC, but I have videos from a year ago of Google not only saying that there was pyramids from 11,000 years ago, but that they had rated in 1900s BC, right? Then a year later, this information totally changes, but still here. Because you can watch, if you watch the entirety of my videos, you'll see pictures of them saying there was a pyramid and there was a temple from 11,000 BC or 11,000 years ago, from like 7,000 BC. So follow along. These people initially raided around the 1900s, right? That's where the 400 years prophecy comes from when Moses appears. There was no pharaohs before the Hyksos. You see these yellow people? They were shepherd kings. They sacrificed animals and did a whole bunch of crazy stuff. It's in written history. Okay, look at these Egyptians who are dark color. Then look at these Hyksos on the chariot. Look at this. They know what they're doing. So further, let's go back. All right. So this is where the 400 years prophecy comes from, where they steal them for these books. They say Abraham went to Egypt and plagued the Pharaoh. This is the time when the Hyksos and they had Aryan blood. The Indus Valley was raided by Aryans. This and Brahma, all the Indus Valley and all them coming to attack Africa. 400 years later, this man appears. Who is Amos? I will make you a god to them, right? This is when pharaohs appear in history. 1500 BC, right? When this man came around, he turned everything around and raided everything back. Not only did he raid an African, it says the Africans defeated the Hyksos and drove them out. The people that were sacrificing, murderers, and pagans. Now watch this. I'm going to show you something. What are the 42 laws of Mu'ad? These laws are where the 10 Commandments came from. Read them sometime. Amun-Ra, which is the mound, the initial mountain, where they get the mountain from, and the wind. The wind carries the bird's feathers. But there was two birds, a dove and a raven. There was another bird, the same in Tuhotep II, was the fiery falcon. The fiery falcon never returned because it went to Canaan, and I'm going to show you what happened there. Matter of fact, I'll show you now. Who is Ahura, or who is Zoroaster? I'm sorry, I'm spelling the name extremely wrong. This is where the fire temples and the fire phoenix went. They was building fiery birds and the Ahura Mazda and the fire temples. If these temples don't look like Egyptian, So I believe this is who Elijah was, but I'm gonna get into that later, because if you take his name apart, Zoroaster, you get Zerah, right? Who's Zerah? That's from that book, the prophecy, the fiery one that came out first and then came out second. And then you have the book of Esther. That's his name combined. I'll show you how they did this with a bunch of the language, including Jesus, right? This isn't, oh, he's a Christian or Hebrew. This is their history. Let's continue, right? So the 42 laws of Mu'ad, where the 10 Commandments came from and was around since the days of Adam, right? Where does Adam come from, right? Atum, the first God that didn't last 1,000 years, because a new God came once Mentuhotep II and the different kings came, right? The first God. So let's continue, right? Where they got all this buffoonery. So now to Ahmose, right? We got him in the 1500s. How long did Egypt rule over Canaan? From the 1500s when they attacked back until around 1100, right? When did Elijah appear? Right after Akhenaten, right? Interesting. What did Zoroaster do? Reformed Canaan and had all the old prophets destroyed. Now watch this. Who is Akhenaten? This man raided Canaan as well and made it an African nation again. Read the Bible and read what Joshua did to Canaan. Then read what King David did to the rest of Israel. Right? Facts. Who is King David? What are the instructions of Amenhotep? Thank goodness for spell check. The instructions of Amenhotep from Sunesis, where they get psychology and the Poseidon, right? The trident. This man was, I believe, who was David. He also reformed once Ramses tore up Africa and the Middle East and made it slavery everywhere. And they think his son, the instructions of Amenhotep is to his son Solomon. So, you know, the interesting thing about Sunesis, the Amun-Ra is what he worshipped, the original gods. So let's continue and go even further through real history, right? When did Babylon conquer, I'm going to say Judea. I'm not going to say Canaan anymore. Watch this. Around 500, 600 BC. So they had about 600 years until Babylon came and attacked. So Africans, an African man who brought Egyptian temples back and the Phoenix, and then Babylon raids, Persia raids, Greece, Rome, and all of a sudden, the African people that was there is no longer African. Hold on. Why did Catholics look for Prester John in Ethiopia? Who the fuck is Jesus? Look at this. Prester John, because they believed he was a powerful Christian king who could help them against their fight against the Muslims. The same people who conquered North Africa and now claim that they were the ones that built all these pyramids. A second invasion of the Hyksos. Moses was fighting the Muslim type people, the Middle Eastern people. It's in written history. Now they put it in the Quran, and the people in the Europeans have nothing to do with any of the story. Nothing to do with it. Nothing in the Old Testament. I'm sorry. Rome is about your best bet, and they weren't Caucasian Angloids yet. The people of the Arabs conquered, whatever y'all want to call them, the Moors and all that, conquered Spain and Rome. Those people were half Spaniard that are Roman. Go look it up. They're going to say, no, they're not. Then do enough research, you're going to find out they were. They were. Why do the Greeks all have curly hair? Okay. Right. So, to find a mighty Christian. But when they went to, okay, so nothing to do with Ethiopia. Was Yehohanan, I'm not going to type like that because they're going to, was Yehohanan a prevalent name in Ethiopia? Oh, it is a Hebrew name. Okay. See, it makes me mad. Calm down, please. Give me strength. Look, Johannes, the Ethiopian version of the name, is very common in the country. Why did the Christians think Prester John was from Ethiopia? I'm going to show you something real quick. No, it's not an Ethiopian name. Right? Because it was a powerful ancient Christian kingdom in a non-Christian continent, making it plausible. What? This is not making sense. So nobody in Ethiopia, oh my God. Did the Christians find a king in Ethiopia named Yehohanan? Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. It's so, oh my God. Okay. Watch this. Is Yehanan a famous ancient African name? Oh my God, I have videos saying it's an African name. Okay, watch this. Oh my God, don't get upset, man. Just, what? Is Naya from Africa? It says Ghana too again. Okay, so watch this. What does Naya mean? I'm sorry. Arabic. Bruh, Africa has no place on this planet. I'm sorry. They act like Africa. Watch this. Watch this. What is the oldest pyramid in the world? Watch this. Oh my God. Oh my God. Now that I don't know if like I'm in a matrix. What is the oldest pyramid considered in the world? Now it's because I just typed the same thing earlier and it said India. Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm gonna show y'all something. I'm gonna show you something. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. I want to show y'all something real quick. This shit makes me sick to my fucking stomach. What does this say right here? Oldest pyramid in the world. Searched 2 hours ago. The oldest pyramid in Gunung Padang megalithic site in Indonesia. The Indus, more India, or wherever Indonesia is, I'm sorry. 27,000 years ago. I type it in now. I know I'm not tweaking. So this is why I say, if you're African, if you're American, African, whatever you are, take a rest and just stop. You know the truth by now. What's this? Since was plumbing in ancient Egypt. Plumbing. Was brain surgery in ancient Egypt. Watch this. Watch this. I'm going to show you the funniest one. Who invented the wheel? Sumerians, Mesopotamia, right? Watch this. What is an Egyptian pulley? No, look what Google wanted me to type in. It said wheel. I swear to God, it said wheel. Hold on. What is an Egyptian pulley? Okay. Is a proposed simple, robust lifting machine. But what's a lifting machine? Let's go deeper. Oh. What's that? That looks like a wheel to me, buddy. What is the oldest Egyptian? Hold on. Is there an ancient Egyptian temple 11,000 years old? Watch this. No, there is. I didn't even say 12. I said 11. Look, Turkey. In Turkey, there's something from 11,000 years ago. Hold on, I'm gonna show you what they said about Europe. This shit had me crying, laughing, G. I was looking for the oldest structures in history, right? They said the oldest temple is from 700 BC in Africa. But they just said, then they said the oldest Egyptian temple is 3500 BC. So how was they building shit with the Egyptian police in 30? But the oldest wheel is from Mesopotamia from 3000 BC. Look, then they say the oldest temple is 700 BC in Africa. Where's Egypt located? It's because the Arabs and the Catholics colonized Africa and Pixel changed that motherfucker. So then look, the oldest temple in Europe is from 3600. Look, there's a sundial and there's an observatory in Africa that's over 7,000 years old, older than the Stonehenge itself, right? And the Stonehenge is the stones, right? Oh my God, this is funny. Is there an ancient African burial temple sites 11,000 years old? I have another video, if you watch them all, of me showing where they said there was an African temple and graves all around it, 11,000 years old. What they do is, watch this. I'm going to show you in real time what they'll say. Why are all these African findings debunked in ancient history? They find that a mountain that has stones that have steps cut into it is from 27,000 years old, and that Europeans were building stuff 4,000 years ago. I'm sorry, 3,500 BC would be plus 2,000 AD, 5,000 years ago, 6,000 years ago. But everything African is debunked. But then all museums, all their artifacts have African, South American, and ancient American artifacts. Why is that? Okay. If they're the ones that did everything, why is the museums filled with African stuff and indigenous stuff? So it's a misconception based on misrepresentation. Some of the Afrocentric claims, particularly from the 20th century, have been widely criticized or proven false due to flawed methodology, bias, and misrepresentation of evidence. Okay. How do Jews and historians, I'm going to show you something real funny, know about Judaism? Torah and the Talmud, right? How did ancient historians learn about Israel? Watch this. Akhenaten and Amos are the ones that defeated the people without a king, who they call the Isirar, through a combination of oh my fucking God, biblical text, right? I'm gonna show you why the biblical text is hilarious. Archaeological excavations, non-biblical writings from the surrounding empires, most notably Egypt, Assyria, and Babylon. Egypt and Assyria? Okay. The Nile Valley Civilization. They piss me off with this shit. This is where they got all that shit. This is where they learned how to farm. This is where they learned everything. Right? So then, watch this. What did they learn, since they don't want to directly tell the truth about Israel through a Egyptian, because if I type African, they're going to mock me, steel. Yes, a specific Egyptian steel called the Memphis steel. It is the source of the earliest extra-biblical reference to Israel, dating to 1207 BC. This steel records of Pharaoh military victories Israel's laid to waste. When did Akhenaten conquer Canaan? When did Amos conquer the Hyksos? 300 years before the steel. 100 years for Akhenaten before the steel. These men were African. Israel was African. It wasn't Israel. It was Asiatic people who evolved from African people. Migration out of Africa. Okay, their information. What is a hominid? Hominid, oldest living civilization. What are their names? Sand Bushmen. Look what Asians look like. Where do Asians come from? Where do Asians come from? Stop fucking playing with me. I can't take y'all seriously no more. None of y'all that lie in people's faces. This whole book is African. The Black Hebrew Israelites might be a little confused, but it is African. And they're not Shem. I can't stand none of this shit no more. This is the man they're going nuts over. The name, I'm going to show you why they're liars. This is an African name. I'm going to show you. When did the Polish create their Hebrew? The premise of the fucking question isn't correct. Okay. When did they translate Hebrew? I'm going to show y'all something. When did the Jewish community, calm down, translate Hebrew? The devil's a lie. The synagogue of Satan. He knows his time is short. When did a Polish Jewish man translate Hebrew? Uh-oh. So they said the premise of my question was, hold on, hold on. The premise of the question is incorrect. Polish people did not create their own Hebrew. Instead, the Jewish community in Poland developed and maintained a vibrant. A significant period of Hebrew translation and literary work occurred in Poland. Jewish people, right? From England, from European Russian descent, notably with the Halleck's brothers printing the first book in what language? Yiddish. So let me see something. When did William Tyndale translate Hebrew? In the 15 fucking hundreds. So if you can speak Polish and if you can speak English, what are you doing? Oh, wait, I think they said, when did the Romans translate Hebrew? From the Greeks. Uh-oh. Into Greek. What was the mark of the beast in Greek lexicon before the Roman political liars? Number in Greek lexicon. 616. That 666 shit is a lie. I don't know where that comes from. I don't. I'm a fucking six. This is the number of the mark of the beast. They were mocking the Canaanites and the people in the time at that, because if you remember, Nebuchadnezzar and all the corrupt kings created laws after laws after laws. How many mitzvahs are there? 613 are the first three commandments, the Ark of the Covenants. Oh my fucking, Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Where do the Jews send non-Jews? Noahides? The Noahides. Did Noah enslave Canaan? He did not enslave Canaan, ladies and gentlemen. He cursed them and the servants of the descendants of Ham, Canaan, blah, blah, blah. So Japheth and his other brothers would rule over him. Is Japheth Greek and Roman descent? Japheth was the final son. Japheth is like, so when I say Japheth and calling European Japheth, I'm not being racist. Could y'all call it Ham? If you was to call African Americans racist for calling y'all Esau and Japheth and Shem, that does not compute. They called me Ham for years. Said it was biblical prophecy. Are Caucasians red color? I think it's been enough for today, man. I'm trying to tell y'all that if you want to continually do this shit, okay, to finish off what I was talking about real quick, to show how I say they'll jump through hoops and fire rings and across bridges to make some shit up, but won't connect the dots between actual history. So then you'll look, the oldest Torah, the one they actually have, is from 1100 to 1200 AD. That's what CE means. And BCE is BC. So the oldest one in actual history is 1100. Then not only that, the ones that they claim that are older and oral law and all that, they have no idea about because they weren't there, just like anything else. And those were translated by the Greeks and Romans, who were extremely manipulative and sought to use religion as political tools. I will show you what I mean. Prophecy of the cave. The prophecy of the cave is what philosophers was coming up with to Greek. Oh my God, dude. Can't nobody learn nothing because they're not teaching true history. It's not a standard Greek. Oh my fucking God. It's not a standard Greek term, but meaning of Plato's allegory. Who is Plato? Where's Plato from? Who is Plato? I'm getting sick of this shit. So what they do is the allegory of the cave. Sorry, allegory of the cave. My bad. Is what basically I was using to talk about how manipulation works and how you can manipulate people all their lives and they wouldn't know no different and wouldn't even want to leave their manipulation. Because this is further what I was talking about right here outside the 42 laws of Mu'at. 12 Egyptian. And this is where they got the concept of the afterlife and all that. I'm telling you they did. These Africans taught them everything. And it wasn't just Egypt. It was the whole Nile Valley. And they had West Africa and the Congos, all thriving civilizations before these people destroyed everything. Egyptian lore, afterlife, and the 12 elders and the feather of the Mu'at that I was just talking about. So where'd they get the afterlife from? That's where they got the 12 judges, the 12 tribes, the 12 everything. And what happens is the 12 elders, they weigh in on your life and look at the laws. And after the 12 elders, if you didn't do right, your heart went on a scale. And if it was heavier than the feather, what happened was it would go down to the crocodile and you would just be eaten. There was no hell and all that. You just didn't go to the afterlife. But if your feather didn't weigh more, if your heart didn't weigh more than Mu'at's feather, then you went to the afterlife. And crocodile eats hearts if heavier than Mu'at's feather. This is where they got all that lore from and everything. And this is basically, the crocodile was an ancient, and they talk about pharaohs being evil. The person that freed them was a pharaoh, Moses. People like Ramses. I'm going to show you guys a pharaoh list real quick, and I'm going to show you what I mean. When they talk about representations of Aaron and all these other people, right? You have these timelines. You have Menes Narmer up here, the one who I was talking about. Then you have Mentuhotep with the Middle Kingdom. If I click on that, it's going to give information about Mentuhotep II. Amenemhet III. Okay. If you go down further, you'll find Mentuhotep and how he factors in. Hold on, I gotta. And that's where they got the fiery feather. I think they got Menes Narmer. I think they either got Shua from Menes Narmer or Mentuhotep II. Let me find his name. See, Menes with the first one. And then the second kingdom. Here we go. Mentuhotep II. Now look at those features. Don't that look Asiatic and African? Like those chunky Buddha dolls and shit. And then, so then you go down, you find Ahmose. This is why it's important. Then you have Tutmose. Tutmose. Amenhotep. Tutmose. Those who are called Aarons. And this is why they call Akhenaten the heretic king. They started to go back to bad ways again. Then Akhenaten reformed all that stuff. Then you have Ramses. He tore the Middle East up. This is where they get all that. And then you have Akhenaten's son. Where's it at? Of Aen-Haramhub. Once Akhenaten died, his father, once he died, Tumakin or whatever they named him, his son completely betrayed him, went back to the Hyksos ways, all the old gods. And then when he died abruptly, Aen-Haramhub took over on super corrupt. Then all these Ramses appeared. I learned all about these. This is where they get all their biblical lore. I'm tired of the lies. I'm tired of the bull crap. Sunesis and Amenemhet, all these, whatever. They were African men. They mixed with the Hyksos and then started mixing with Babylonian and all these other. They talk about the 12 tribes and all. It's so full of crap. Them people were African and Asiatic. The Africans had conquered for a long time until Babylon came back. And then even still, Egypt wasn't conquered until I think Greece, and then Cleopatra comes, and that's what. Greek Egyptians, Cleopatra, and the Greeks were the ones. Okay. What did the Greeks write about Egypt? Immense history, monumental architecture, and unique customs, viewing it as. So how is Greek building all these ancient structures in the 3600s, but Africa's right below them, and they don't know nothing about these ancient, but they're writing that they were the gods. Took all their culture, lore, and everything. Wake up. Please wake up. What did the Romans write about the Anglo-Saxon barbarians? Oh my God. Why won't AI bring that up? And it's a clear thing. The barbarians. They are so racist. They are trying to make Europeans look like gods. And this is why Jesus has blonde hair and blue. Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay. What did the Romans write about African savages? Okay, let me watch this. What did Columbus write about the African savages? Oh my God, they being funny as fuck right now. I think my AI overview has been hacked by the company, and they not. I'm gonna try this one more time. What did the Catholics write about barbarians? Brutal invaders who brought destruction. Seeing them as a tool for both the downfall of the. I'm gonna show y'all one more thing, or a couple more things. What is Amharic, or something like Amharic, and where did it come from? A Semitic language spoke by the. You know why the top is green and the bottom's red? That's the Arabic colonization and the Christian colonization. The ancient Ge'ez script. So if Amharic came from Ge'ez, and Ge'ez is the most ancient, how ancient is Ge'ez language? Oh my God, the 1st century. When did the ancient... Now you see how quick they tried to say the 1st century. Watch this. When did the ancient language of Ge'ez appear? I got literal videos saying it's from like 4000 BC. I literally do. 6th century, 4th century. Okay. Oh my fucking man. Was the language of Ge'ez being spoken in 2000 BC? All right, I give up, man. Because it gets to the point. Watch this. What's the oldest language in the world? Sumerian Akkadian. There goes Sumerian again, right? What's the oldest civilization in the world? Mesopotamia, Sumerian. Okay. Are ancient Europeans known for building great temples? Come on, AI. Let me know what you got. Were well known for building magnificent ceremonial structures. The Greek, and then they take it to the Greeks, right? The Greeks were known for their ancient structures. Man. Did the Sumerians create amazing civilization? Watch this. The ancient Babylonian pyramid. They have one pyramid, and they said it was the most beautiful. Look at that, the ziggurat. That they won't show a real picture. They'll okay, that right? Is that the? How many sphinx and pyramids were in ancient Egypt? 113 to 138 pyramids. Look at this shit. Old cities and temples. But it was written Mentuhotep had pyramids and all that, and Menes Narmer and all them, before Babylon was even created. So how the fuck is that possible? I'm sorry. Y'all said there what the oldest in ancient Egypt was from 2500 BC, 2000 BC. So what the fuck is the first kingdom in 3100 BC where they already had temples, pyramids, and civilization and writing and all that? Like I can't make this shit up, man. I cannot make this shit up. So here's something else I want to show y'all real quick. Another thing, because Aramaic comes from these Ethiopian and dark people, and they went through most ancient African language. They're gonna show you the man. Hold on. Khoisan languages, Southern Africa, considered among the oldest living languages spoken today. You know who that is? What are they called? The Bushmen, the Sam Bushmen. Some archaeologists claim to have found evidence of pro-Saharan scripts dating from about 5000 BC in the Sudan. Watch this. Did ancient South American scripts mimic African scripts? I'm gonna show you why they're saying it's not similar, because a whole bunch of historians prove they were, and this is what they tied it back to. South American statues. Watch this. What the fuck? South American. Oh my God. African statues. You see these statues? They're not going to show these on the main overview, right? Why didn't they show these at all? Right? So then a whole bunch of researchers was like, holy crap, there were Africans in South America. So watch this. Were Egyptians known for navy fleets? Yes, ancient and later Egyptian kingdoms were known for their naval fleets, transportation and trade purposes, right? Then watch this. Can apes sail across rafts and drift wood? Apes. I'm going to show you how apes was traveling before we became humans. While modern apes do not intentionally sail. Oh my fucking God. Okay. What? The word games. They don't intentionally do it. They do it by accident. They fall asleep and then there's a massive flood. Apes have been sailing across waters. But now for some reason, now they're saying they don't do it intentionally. Man. And they will show you that ancient animals were sailing across driftwood. Monkeys too. I'm tired of their gymnastics. It's fucking frustrating. Rest people. Stop looking for King Davids. Stop looking for Joshua's and all these names. What does sus mean in Latin? This is what they turned y'all about to get y'all to say. Jesus. Jehovah and Yahweh are the same word backwards. They got it from Yehohanan and your accountants. That's why they were searching Africa for these people. Everything and a lot of things came from Africa. Okay. They will tell you that if two people are not in the same similar vicinity, they won't build the same things. They will have their own unique lifestyle. Pyramids in Americas. Why do the Americans have more pyramids than Babylon? Pyramids, right? Watch this. Ancient Mesoamericans and Mesopotamians, they're two different. Now, you notice how they call them Mesoamericans. I'm going to tie it all together. But they're calling them Mesopotamians now, right? Watch this. Ancient Mesopotamians, brain surgery. Now, remember I showed you the brain surgery from the Egyptians, right? How were they also similarly doing surgeries and brain surgeries? How did they have similar scripts and Sanskrits? Or scripts? And then Amharic existed first in these African languages, and then Aramaic comes to be. Once they raid them and say it was in the 5th century. The 5th century? Okay. In the 5th century, I thought Babylon was raiding Canaan. Were they not? 500 BC? So how in the fuck would they be mimicking an Arabic language if the Arabic aren't Babylonian? Oh, but they are. The Persians too. Right? They all claim that they're the Middle Easterns. Right? So, African statues, similar languages with script, and brain surgeries. All doing surgeries together. The Europeans, the Romans, and the Greeks who were introduced later doing none of these things. So this is all so interesting to me, man. I just don't get it. I don't know what's wrong with y'all. And I don't know where y'all's. A lot of people say it's jealousy and envy, but that don't make sense because we can all be the same and have similar cultures and all that. And even if we're not the same, we all got our strengths and weaknesses. So I guess do what y'all gonna do in life, man. But if you need more evidence after me, I said this in a poem once. If you don't still understand after me, I liken it to a T-Rex trying to grab a fruit from the tree with his little arms, causing himself harm when he can just eat me. I'm giving you the information. This is their history, so they can't say African blackie. Their own information contradicts itself so bad. How many archaeologists and historians were debunked and ostracized? It is impossible to provide an exact number. That's how many. There was an African Egyptian man, or a man from Egypt, clearly black, African, and they told him if he didn't teach that Egyptians were white, that he would be fired. There was a major lawsuit. It was the funniest shit I've ever seen in a video. Real history. So this is what they're doing. There was something else I wanted to say real quick. Are genetic tests illegal in Israel? They have this man's bone. That bone is in Israel. Why didn't they raid Canaan looking for Prester John? Not illegal. Bruh, I just watched somebody go to jail on a video because of this. The government was arresting them. Okay. All right, man, I've had enough for one fucking day. Y'all are a bunch. This is y'all God. This is y'all. Hold on. This is y'all got this is an accurate representation of they fucking bullshit. And this is why I say don't eat from the calf. Who referenced cows and calf? Right? I'm gonna show y'all some funny shit. Brahma and the love for cows. And tell me the Indus Valley areas of Hyksos didn't raid Egypt or Kemet when I said they did, right? They reference cows. And then a golden calf appears that Moses has to attack. They say don't eat pork, and all of a sudden a Jesus appears. Does that seem really metaphorical and spiritual to you once you learn the truth? Moses' wife was African. Moses and his wife was African. What? Moses' wife, African. Moses was a stranger in his own land because of the Hyksos. Cushite. Who are the Cushites? They call them evil. Notice how it was the Pharaoh who was created by an African who did right by it. And the Cushites was evil, and the Ethiopiites was evil, and they come up with all these names, dude. They are fucking bogus. Oh god, and I'm still not a racist. I love white people. Welcome to the cookout if you ain't a piece of shit.